meeting. So if I can just start off on behalf of the Parish Council, wishing everybody the very best for the new year. I'll introduce the meeting itself after the open forum. But first of all, I'd like to introduce Terry Rhodes and Skippen and Dan. I understand that Sgt Tom Montgomery has been called away on an emergency and isn't able to be here. But by way of background, in November we had 4 crimes reported. There were 2 break-ins of vans looking for tools. There were 2 cars that were set alight, and there was also a case of antisocial behaviour that Councillor Castlethorpe reported. But that doesn't seem to be showing on the TVP system just yet. This is not normal in Castlethorpe and did cause some alarm. And I'm very pleased that these have come this evening to talk to us about that. There was another topic which I suspect we can't deal with, which was about what has really been a decreasing police presence over certainly the time I've been a parish councillor. Going from the time when we had a village copper, Mick Shaw, but when I joined the parish council, there were 2 PCs that we had. I worked very closely with one of them, Andy Perry. And very closely. He would come into the school and do educational talks. He'd help us on community speed watch. He helped us set up the AMPRs. And I was working also with Andy Paulden, who was then the sergeant. The parish council with them bought smart water to put around the village after we had some burglaries to sort of put residents that were worried. So we were working really closely. But when the 2 Andys left, which was I think around 2015, our contact with you really started to sort of become much more sporadic. We occasionally saw a rural PC at the NAG meetings. And Terry, I know you've been a regular at the NAG meetings for quite a while. I was able to work with a special PC, Guillaume Bouliette, who did speed enforcement for us. He did that several times in the village. But he moved on in 2022. And his replacement wasn't able to do the enforcement for it. So that's not happening. And as far as your good selves are concerned, we used to have 2 PCSOs who seem to be pretty much dedicated to the villages out for these villages. Kirsty Martinson moved on, then Pat Flynn moved on. Dave Huckle came in his first incarnation. Then Dave was moved, and we had Josh Richardson, and he was really good, and he did a lot of work, particularly when we had some ASB problems. Then he handed back to Dave and you, Terry, but you 2 had a huge area then. It was just very, very big. And although we appreciated the monthly crime report that Dave used to send through, Dave moved on as well. So it has been very a diluting experience, I would say. And we don't have a lot of problems. Speeding, parking, a little bit of ASB, and then just occasionally burglaries and car thefts, which are serious. But we would like a bit more contact, both for information and also for reassurance. And we just hope that what's happened recently isn't going to be a sign of things to come. Now, I don't know how much you can respond on that. Kay, could you possibly, or actually Dave, you're there, perhaps you could let Terry use your... Okay. Yeah, but you need to come forward to be picked up on these. Microphone. I'll get out the way. Yeah, okay. Oh, I'll do it. Because there will be people watching this.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Hi, Terry. So welcome and thank you for standing in.
That's okay. I'll do what I can. I was under the impression that a prepare statement may have been given to you prior to this meeting regarding that last part, but I'll do what I can to sort of say what I can on the matter of what I know. And obviously, Sgt Montgomery are coming up, and he would probably explain a lot more better than me. But regards to the sort of the lack of police that you've probably been seeing, yeah, I understand. I've been in this role for 6 years now, so prior to 6 years ago, it was probably when it started to sort of see it decrease. Because when I started, I think the only PCs that was in Newport Pagnell were Dan Smith and George Walworth. So I think since I started 6 years ago, there have been 2 police officers for the whole of the walls out Newport Pagnell. But yeah, over the last few years, we have seen a decrease in sort of constable presence in neighbourhoods. I think because of the mass recruitment the government have done, you've seen an influx of PCs coming through the door, but then there's no one else to train them. So they've had to find constables from around different departments to come into the shift to help with the training, the tutoring stages of that, which is what they've dragged our neighbourhood officers to do. But this current stage now, we are starting to see healthier numbers in regards to Newport and the Walls. We have Sgt Montgomery, who can't be here today. Dan Allen behind me, Police Constable. Nina Ayles, you know Nina?
I'm not sure if I've met her at a NAG, but I certainly don't know her.
Yeah, she's on the Newport and Wall team. And then Andrew White, who has recently become the neighbourhood supervisor. So we've currently got 3 police constables, a sergeant, myself, Arlene and Tilly as PCSOs, and we're getting 2 more PCSOs in February for the area as well. So it will be a healthy numbers, and it'll just be sort of 3 PCSOs. In regards to, I think there were 3 points regarding the van thefts. I know that the incident you're talking about, there was a whole series of van thefts across the whole of the north of Milton Keynes, spanning from Newport, across the White Walls into Stony Stratford. We're well aware of the situation going on. There are operations in place, intel gatherings and stuff like that. So there's a specific department that are dealing with these sort of nominals in this sort of OCG in regards to that. So in regards to what I'm coming on that, it is still an ongoing operation in regards to that gathering intel, trying to find like casualties that we've got a few bits of intel on it, sort of vehicles, etc. So it is an ongoing thing. I can't comment too much on it, but it is an ongoing thing. It's not isolated to a certain area.
I mean, can I ask, you know, from our perspective, I mean, are these criminals still active in the area? In other words, are there still van break-ins going? Do we need to be concerned about that? And secondly, is there anything that we can do ourselves, those of us who've got the van?
Yeah, what you find with these types of crimes, they're not just sort of isolated to sort of 1 or 2 individuals. They are somewhat OCG related in the fact that we catch one person, another person may fill their boots and stuff like that. So it's going to be, it could be, it's the same as sort of burglary. It's never going to stop. And all we can do is advise people to sort of don't leave any valuable tools in the vans. Get signs to say there's no tools left in the vans. Just do what you can to prevent them from parking in such a way that they can't access it, or deadlocks on the vans. Remove valuable items. Just do as much as you can to prevent them coming stealing from the van. So yeah, on that matter, yeah, that's about much like comment on it. So don't feel like it's an isolated incident to Castlethorpe. It is what it is, and it's probably a national issue when it comes to theft from vans. They're normally target tradespeople, tools and stuff like that. But it is an ongoing thing that we are dealing with. The cars that were set alight, was that reported? I'm guessing that was reported to police, because we.
Sorry, the lady there. I mean, do feel, this is the open forum, so do feel free to speak.
My car set on fire.
Okay.
And it was reported to the police, but I had to go and do my own knocking on doors to see if anyone had CCTV, and they still haven't got back to me regarding it.
Do you want? Have you got any records of them still?
I think I'm on my phone.
Yeah, I'll take them from you later, because we can't find any records. So,
Oh, right, okay.
yeah, for some reason.
I took to Milton Keynes police station in Thames Valley last week and asked for the police officer to contact me regarding an update, and
you have information that this is about? Yeah, we struggle to find any record, so I'll take the reference from Sheila, some big in that, and get back to you on that. And the other issue, so sorry, I can't comment on that one, so I don't know the job. What was the other issue, the anti-social behaviour?
Yeah, don't worry about that. He's
That's dealt with.
no, we've already had a conversation. He phoned me, and we had a long conversation about it, and seeing things are down, and they know who it is, so just leave it
It's
there.
done.
Fine.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I tell you, I agree with you. I've probably been interim PCSO for Castlethorpe for a number of years. You guys
Yeah.
stepping in one other PCSO, so I understand that you guys are feeling somewhat vulnerable and unpleased. But rest assured, we are healthy numbers. It is looking better for neighbourhood policing, in Nottingham especially. But I will get back to you on what my expectation was.
Yeah, I would appreciate his statement.
Yeah.
Because, until you walked in the door, I was kind of expecting Tom Montgomery was coming, to be honest.
Yeah.
It would be nice to have known he wasn't. Anyway, this is for others
He did
to
tell
ask.
me on Saturday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I could have told you then, sorry.
No,
I know, but it's not for you to tell.
Yeah.
Steve, did you?
Yeah, can I just ask, both Hanslope and ourselves have got a post-mounted closed circuit TV. Is that providing useful? Is that being used in investigations to maybe ban break-ins and things like that?
CCTV.
No, you mean AMPR?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
ANPR, yeah, we'll always use ANPR.
And so you're using that.
Yeah. It's a regular system we use quite regularly, and it is proven valuable, especially with this side of the room.
So this wasn't picked up on the Station Road plan broke in then? You got
I'm
AMPR,
not the officer that was investigating that particular incident, so I can't.
because that's what gets me. I mean, we have had AMPR, we've had various things go wrong at times. And we've been told the AMPR, and then the lads have got to go in and village, one way through Antwerp or through Castle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it'll be up to the officer that's investigating that particular incident to take them steps to look at the ANPR.
And the only other problem I've got, this gentleman lives up the same road, Bullet Lane Road, and it's no different, I think, Station Road and coming down Hanslope. It is absolutely horrendous at the moment. This last 6 months especially is the speeding. It's chronic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got people coming in the village at 50, 60 mile an hour. They don't care about a road narrowing or somebody coming up the road. They do not care a monkey if they just come through.
Yeah, and the good thing now, we have been given, as PCSOs, obviously police constables can do speed enforcement on the roadside. But liaise with us if we're in problematic areas, and we can look at doing some speed checks there. PCSOs have also been given the power to do what the community speed watch can do. So stand with a gun, take down notes and send them letters. So we can do that as well as the community speed watch. But we can't do it joint, we have to do it sort of separately, so we can go.
Well, I mean, I know Dave Huckle said that the PCSOs in Newport have been speed gun trained, though you can't actually do the enforcement.
Yeah, we don't have power to enforce, but we can obviously do what you
Yeah.
guys do.
So, I think we would appreciate that, as Ian said, there's been speeding. I mean, Bullington End Road has got particularly bad recently, and I think that's probably to do with the development at Hanslope Park, but there's Hanslope Road is always the worst one, and Rawton Road's not far off. Station Road actually isn't that bad.
I know there's somebody who just got close that can do every morning, and he's doing 30 miles an hour on the Dutch uncle.
Yeah.
One of these guys are jumping.
But yeah, if you want to send me some areas of concern, we can look at, we was only given the package just before Christmas, so it's very new to us, but if you want
Okay.
to provide me some.
Well, I mean, I have got 8 years of historical data on the 4 entrances. We actually switched over to these new solar powered SIDs about months ago, and I haven't got the download information to start getting that, the current set.
Yeah.
And the portable SID, I think through a hissy fit when it saw the brand new solar SIDs coming in, and decided to rather permanently stop working. So we've got to make a decision as to whether we're going to get that repaired or whether that's just throwing good money after that, really. It's done its, I mean, it's 8 years old. But certainly with Hanslope Road and Wolverton Road, which is where the solar sits are permanently mounted, which are the two highest speed entries. I should be able to give you current data, but to be honest, it doesn't actually change very much. I mean, I've been doing this for 8 years, and I look at it each.
Yes,
And the average speeds to the 85 are pretty consistent within a mile now. So I can share that, Terry.
So we'll do what we can. Obviously, speeding is really a worldwide issue in regards to if a car can go over speed limit, there's more likely to do that unless they now produce cars that don't allow you to go over speed. I think it's always going to be a problem, but we'll do what we can to sort of find out the irregular speeders we can identify.
Okay. Any other questions?
You know, the 20 mile an hour zone as well. It's very rare to see a car doing less than 20.
Yeah, I mean, that 20 mile an hour, that's right on the bend, so I can't, if anybody wants to go over 20 mile an hour.
Well, I'll tell you where they go faster. I mean, they certainly go faster once you get more or less in the stretch from here going out, which is particularly bad because you've got a village shop with people crossing the road and so on, and that's all 20 miles an hour. And they will speed on that section, and cars coming in the other way. You're quite right. It's difficult to go more than 20 miles an hour around those bends, which at the time was a condition of actually having a 20 mile an hour limit. I mean, rather bizarrely, it was that you weren't allowed. Cars couldn't reasonably do more than 20. Oh well, we'll allow you to have a 20 mile an hour. They wouldn't want to do a bit stupid. And they also are going quite quickly when they come in off Wolverton Road onto North Street. At the other end, and they don't start slowing down until they start approaching that first bend, which does mean they can be going quite fast when they come across that first junction of South Street, which isn't great, clearly.
I know the Hanslope, even though they've got a lot of speed bumps in Hanslope, even though they've still got issues with speed. So, but yeah, send us some locations we can do.
I'll do that.
As well.
Other questions, Paul?
Dr. Goodman, you mentioned earlier smart water. Is there any ongoing subsidised opportunities to do marking of tools or anything of that nature?
Yeah, we can do some marking of tools. We can handle smart waters if upon request if you want.
I think we still got some credit for smart water kits. I mean, we paid for quite a few, and
There was a minimum order quantity, wasn't there?
Yeah, and we didn't reach that. We certainly got.
Well, if they're still in date,
I mean, it's somewhere in the document set I go to Jackie.
all right. Well, if it's still in date, we may as well use this to say, given we've already paid for it. If not, perhaps Jackie, you could just let Terry know, and Terry could.
No, well, it's not just for me, you know, somebody's had an amber, they presumably had to go and buy a new tool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, might be lots of mark just in case.
Of course, you're quite right, Peter. Yeah, if you could check how many we've got, and if we've got some, then perhaps we can advertise that we'll do that. I mean,
there are been some tool marking events across Milton Keynes. They're generally targeted around sort of B&Qs or the hardware stores. That's where you're probably going to find most of the people that.
I'll keep it on there, thank you.
Yeah.
The thing about smart water is that some thieves don't bother with it, and if they see a smart water sign, that's the real help, because they should go to the next one.
Yeah, and the tool marking isn't going to stop the thief taking.
It's just sticking it on the back.
Yeah, if we recover it, that's the old opportunity for us to at least know where it comes from.
And return it.
Okay.
And return it.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for that, Peter. Anything else? No. Well, thank you very much, all three of you. Nice to meet you, Tilly and Dan. It's very good. And see you again, Terry.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you could chase up that response from Lee, I would appreciate it.
I hope that's somewhat cleared up some of the issues.
Just for the people who are listening, how's the best way to get them moving? Is it through 101?
It depends on the circumstances. If there's a crime in progress in the 99, if it's something that can wait I1 or online submission through the Thames Police website.
I'd say the most common one is probably a suspicious vehicle. Which one is that?
Suspicious vehicle, it all depends on the circumstances. Again,
Well, I've seen several things on Facebook, everybody's Facebook, where someone says there's a car looking very dodgy, just sort of working its way around, don't know it.
there was probably
It's not just cars though, is it? It's
No.
people
well.
knocking on doors and saying, oh, I want to mend your roof, or
No,
they
but-
go around all the village and stuff like that, so.
This is when the plans were broken into the next day or the day after. We had an issue at the shop, because Julie was at the shop, and I went in, and he asked me to stay, and I knew the reason why. There was two lads in a large Peugeot van and a small Peugeot van. There were 6 lads in black, all dressed in black with everything on. And he asked somebody if they could just come out of the shop, you want your roof doing. I went and knocked on the top 2 bungalows there, and then I had to go and chap bought a bottle of water, £1.40. I said, if you don't like it, mate, you know where to go. And up next thing you know, though, I knew they were going around Hounslow.
Yeah.
if you generally got concerns that that's no good, there's no harm in reading 999.
Okay. Thank you very much then.
No, thank you.
That's great. You're welcome to stay with me, but I should know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Do feel free to call in when you're in the village.
Yeah, you've got my details, so if anybody here wants my details, or Tilly's, or Dan's, liaise with, Bill, sorry.
Yeah.
The long night. Yeah, some of my details.
Yeah, I think it's on our website, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, Russell maintains all that.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. And actually, I don't know if we've got Tilly's details.
I can send you both.
Yeah, we do.
I'll send you an email.
I'm sure, I should have asked Dan, what his, oh, he's just dealing with this. What his role is with respect to you guys.
So, Dan is coming as a, neighbourhood officer. I'm operating.
Full rules.
Yeah, transferred from Hearts, he was a neighbourhood officer at Hearts.
Yeah,
He's done year on shift, and now he's with us at neighbourhood, so he's a
okay,
dedicated neighbourhood officer.
okay, very good.
Along with Cllr Ayles, and then you've got Andrew White, who is the supervisor.
Right, okay, that's very good, thank you.
But I'll send you their details.
Yeah, in fact, whoever maintains the TVP website, perhaps they could update some details. It's very.
Yeah, I want to even know where it started, like you are, who manages that website, so the front of that. Most of it,
Right. Okay,
all
right, thank you very much indeed. Yeah, right, any other items to raise in the open forum before we start the parish council meeting? Yes, Judith?
Can I just ask, with regard, and I'm very grateful for the response I got from both of you in the new year, before I say anything else, I'm really grateful for that. Thank you. That cattle grid at the end of the bright line, the overflow point for it is too high, so it doesn't actually take in the stuff. I know the farmers can't help the amount of water that is coming to the town, you know, they're not God, they can't help it, no, going down off the fields. But the pipe that goes, that is built in on that ditch in order to put that plant in there is solid full of mud. It needs blasting through and clearing out to allow that water to go through. I have got a video of it. I did try and send it to Jackie, but it's too big.
Yeah.
And all of the drains down from that road narrowing in there, all the way down there, are chock-a-block full. Now, I know one of my neighbours, there's a drain outside his house, actually reported it. Milton Keynes, who lived there, Milton Keynes council came out and said it wasn't economically viable to clear it. Now, all of those drains are like that. I mean, in spring, the weeds grow out of it beautifully. It's a very pretty day. But that does need doing just sooner or later.
Yeah.
And the car wash, because the water comes across the road. As part of those narrowings, and then you get the traffic coming down, it's just pushing it all into the gardens.
Now, as I understand it, Judith, the cattle grid and the ditch is actually Luke Stacey. And I think you spoke to Luke, and he did say,
Jackie spoke to me and I had the two names that were necessary.
yeah,
And
and I think he's committed to getting that cleared, hasn't he?
I haven't seen them.
So, yeah.
And it's, the other end of it, it's just so full of branches that came from that willow tree that has never been followed in, I don't know how long now. We all know the country.
Whose land is that?
the land that Luke Stacey rents is, the hedgerow belongs to Lord Garrington's.
But the tree, is that on,
That's on Luke's side, yeah.
it's on Luke's side?
Yeah. Anywhere from that passage bridge down
Well-
to the river is down to Luke.
All right, well, Jackie was speaking to Luke anyway, so perhaps we can ask if you could just sort of follow up on that. Now, the drains are a different matter.
Yeah.
Now, that is Milton Keynes Highways, and I have been down there. I went down there so many times when Richard Watman was in the village, you know,
Yeah.
and trying to get them cleared. And they are, it is really bad that they're not, and you can see, it all runs down, well, it runs down to the bottom one's drained, so it's blocked, so it just piles up the whole way along. I think all we can do is, I think we probably, when we come to talk about highways, we are going to be building up a highways list. I think what we will do, have you formally reported it or not?
To Milton Keynes Council?
Yes.
No, but I will do.
Yeah, if you would do, we will raise one as well. And to be clear, these are the surface water drains. Can you just give me the numbers of the houses? I can't remember them offhand.
So it's from the alley side, you say 41, because that's mine.
Yeah.
You carry on down to, I think, 63.
41 to 63,
Yeah.
about that, yes.
Yeah, the people involved as well to report it, because the more people report it,
Yeah.
then you can in council, the better. So that I've been neighbours and down.
Yeah.
If they get loads of reports.
Yes,
then they can't-
yeah, that's good.
I'm surprised that the drains weren't done because the council has the gully empty around and we had one with the drain outside our house. It's beautiful now.
I think they did them down to,
Right, I didn't do the bottom.
down to the halfway down, like, yeah. So the
The
bottom,
rest of
I
the
mean,
village was done.
I could say, I can show you, but I went out and videoed it the next morning. I mean, it's ridiculous, and sadly, because our front garden is dropped, we get most of the wash. I mean, with the problem with the sewage, I was 2 centimetres away from getting sewage in my house.
Yeah.
On New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And it is the same as water.
I know we spoke, did the Anglican water come out and sort it out?
Well, thankfully, no, that was fun. The guy that was doing the checkers one,
Yeah,
my son arrived when it was all going on, and he went up to him and he said, mate, can you have a look at this? Because obviously there's something going on. He said, oh, I've washed it down from here. It's obviously got locked again at yours. I will get it.
Okay, so he did it.
He did it. But when I rang up Anglican Water, they said, oh, it'll be 48 hours before we can get somebody in. So,
Yeah.
So, thanks.
yeah. I was going to suggest actually, Russell, that we put the numbers for Anglian Water, and also it came up in the discussions that we were having about the pothole on Bullington End Road. That there's an emergency number that you can call if something's really bad for highways. Yeah, and I think if we put those on the website as well, then people need it. We can direct people there.
Put them on Facebook as well.
Anyway. Okay, is there anything else then that we want to raise? Yeah.
Briefly comment on that. So did they say it wasn't economically viable? So
My husband started to find out where it was. And he said, I've had $1 down to this. He said, it's not economically viable to really. So I mean, my response was, well, if it's not economically viable, we all see them for compensation, you'll get paid. If they're not done, we should do it.
yeah, I've got a meeting with Graham on Tuesday.
We all walk off.
So I can raise it there and try to, I don't think that, yeah, they should do.
It's the one that goes right from the one where the little grid is, there's one here on that side of the road, and then it's all the way down to maybe to the entrance to Jackson.
Okay.
I'll
Thank you,
make that
Liam,
right.
if you would say that.
Yeah.
I mean, as you gathered, I mean, we've got a growing list of highways issues, and I know Chris has dealt with some of them, and really do appreciate what you did on Station Road down by the Navy there. But we have still got a long list of stuff, and we're going to build this up, and I think we'll copy. I know Alison has also been going nuts really because of local issues in Hounslow, but I think we'll try and keep our ward councillors copied in on the list, because I think once we've got it, what we used to do was have a long list, and then Steve and I would work through it with Naveed every month or so.
Yeah.
And the list would go down, and eventually we got it to nothing, you know. With this lot, it's just done. Anyway, yeah.
Yes, well, the other week, over Bullington End Road, I was close entrance, trying to get the sewer drains up and the drains up there. And those manholes have never been lifted. They couldn't. They spent about 4 or 5 hours there, mate, sat in the man end and done no more and drove off. Because they can't get at 7 Bullington End Road, because there's always a pelt up there. And that's where we used to have all the blockages. The same as the blue down the bottom of the corner, but 49, 47.
Yeah, but if they tell us that they're coming, then we can ask residents, you know, to temporarily move their cars, but when they just sort of turn up randomly. Anyway,
You know the road outside here, then they resurfaced it.
yeah,
Who did that? Was it Milton Keynes Council? Because it's crumbling at the sides. There's a huge great pothole, and just outside 6 the Chestnuts,
oh yeah,
and all the way along there,
Yeah.
it's crumbling, and it's just disappeared. It's dreadful.
yeah, yes,
Must be about that deep.
yeah, no, I noticed that the other day, and
I've
I've got
reported
round, you've reported it, okay.
Yeah, well, the whole they built up the Bullington End Road is half empty already.
That was a temporary fix. to try
Temporary
to-
fix, yeah.
Look, we could
Anyway.
go on for an awful long time about highways, but if we'll make up a list. Anyone who's got anything, please send an email to Jackie, that's residents and councillors, and we'll build this up between us, yeah, right. Okay,
Start having meetings.
can we, yeah,
Spreadsheet.
right, we're now going to start the parish council meeting itself. So this evening, in addition to the usual clerk's report and city council's reports, I'll give an update again on the clubhouse project. We've got 5 planning matters. 2 are our own applications relating to the clubhouse, being the discharge of archaeological conditions and some minor changes which they've already approved. There are 2 applications to reduce crowns on trees in the conservation area. And I would remind residents that if you are in the conservation area, you must get permission from Milton Keynes Council before you start work on your trees. The final item is an appeal against refusal of permission for a dog walking field opposite Windy Harbour. Tonight's resolutions are, this is sort of related to Clubhouse again, but to invite residents who may have some artistic abilities, and I know some of you, to join a group to decide on the use of some planning game, which is specifically for public art. If you look around the council table here, I don't think you would regard any of us as artistic. So we could do with some help on that. And the idea is to put some public art using this money that's been got for the clubhouse and the village shop extension. We can do that. As a formal resolution to renew the lease between the parish council and the sports clubs for the use of the sports ground. I wanted this done formally so that Ian has an opportunity if he's got any comments. To ask Milton Keynes Council for a 40-mile-an-hour buffer zone outside the 30-mile-an-hour area on Bullington End Road, which we tried before, but not succeeded. I think try again. To consider actions on the poor conditions of the roads and to consider the continued deterioration of the old Carrington Arms, as well as the usual payment schedule and some transfers of money between our accounts. We'll also be considering the 2024-25 budget and the precepts that we'll be setting. There is a part 2 to the meeting which is not open to the public, and which will consist of which will consider a number of quotes for works on trees, the Hanslope Road SID, which just needs to be moved slightly, and replacing the village hall lights, which are starting to go. So that's this evening's meetings. So we have no apologies for absence. I think it's one of the first full meetings. Declarations of interest. I guess, Ian, you probably ought to declare one on this 40-mile-an-hour area, as it's going to include your.
What number's that then?
That is 7.5.
No, that's a long way. Not what we said, though.
We can but hope. No other declarations of interest, right? Minutes of the previous meeting. Are there any matters of accuracy in them that anyone would like to correct? No, in that case, I'll propose, can I have a seconder, which is Kay, and all in favour?
Well, I can't, wouldn't we?
Right, okay, so it's unanimous of those that are here. Right, move on now to the clerk's report. So let's just very quickly. I think on item 6, which is the village shop extension, on the day before they were due to decide, they decided the red lines on the block drawings on the planning application weren't in the right place, so they wanted to start it all again, which amused the architect no end. But it's actually only a 3-week delay. More importantly, the asset manager and surveyor who are looking to move the land in front to the parish council expect to complete that work within the next 2 to 3 months. Any questions on, shall we just say, well, on any of the items actually? Well, items 1 to 18, because that's. Anyway, up to 1 to 18.
15, the oak tree, you're going in Goddard's Field. Been letting ourselves in for something, like what they're considering what they're going to do with Goddard's Field. Do you think we might find a better flag for it?
There's no, I don't think there's any connection, Ian. I mean, they will want, undoubtedly the owners in Gobbis Field will want to put in some land for planning. And I have got a statement to make about that actually later. Well, I'll say it now actually. This is for councillors. I did say that Andrew Turner was going to come and present the new city plan to some of the rural north parishes, and his original date was the 5th of February, which is the date of our meeting. Alison has been talking to him, and he has now moved it to the 7th, which is the Wednesday. The time is to be confirmed tomorrow, but it will probably be 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. But so if this is for councillors, but if you would like to come to that meeting, we'll send and as soon as I've got the time, we'll send an invite out. But it does not clash with our meeting, which is what we originally thought.
I would have liked to come, but I teach on Wednesday evening, so I can't.
Yeah. It's often a problem, I'm afraid. Yeah. We'll let you know. I mean, I as I said in my note, I wouldn't raise your hopes too much, because I think what he's going to do is they've done the first sifting, which is just to remove the sites that are completely impossible, and all the others will still be there. I hope he will share what they are around Castlethorpe and indeed the neighbouring villages, but we'll have to see.
I think I'd like to know what their criteria is for sifting.
Yeah,
Because I mean, they say they will sift and they will come up with the results. But in the spirit of openness, they should let us know how they intend to get that.
you're quite right. Yeah, yeah, it's something we should ask.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I've got,
but just to answer Ian's point, they will put that there, I'm sure. But when Steve, who dealt with this, because it was in his time as clerk, there was no quid pro quo in terms of, you put an oak tree, let us put an oak tree and you can build 1,000 houses type thing, it wasn't.
yeah, absolutely none.
No. Okay, anything else on these items?
Just update on number 14, the location of the Morris Cup. If anybody wants to see it, it's in our front window. Four sides.
Well, it was, the couple thought,
Not
That's
so
really
there.
the hall.
The sword are coming into.
oh, no.
Yeah, sort of probably be there or not.
I mean, I know, Mike, sorry, I've got Malloy, came over and talked to us about, where we could put it. And I think the only place that you could really put a display cupboard is on top of that.
Yeah.
But there we go.
You can't leave.
I haven't heard back from them. Okay, well, let's move on then.
Item, Chair, item 11.
11.
Yeah, I raised the.
Can you
floor-
just say what it is?
Yeah, it's actually the stonewater landscaping and the lack of. I raised the thought that they should be regularly maintaining the swale area and the other area on the other side of Paddock Close. But the culverts were blocked and have been since they left the site. And that the area down the bottom of the Carrington Road is just overrun with big weeds. And I got a response back from Milton Keynes saying that they closed the case. They didn't say how they closed the case, they closed the complaint. And so I've written to them saying that's not satisfactory. I want assurance that the two areas at the bottom of Paddock Close are on a regular schedule. I want to know what they're doing about unblocking culverts. And I want to know what they're doing about planting the area at the bottom of Carrington Road to grass.
Yeah.
And I've just gotten out of office saying they're on leave till today.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's planning non-enforcement. I mean, they are just.
so I mean, that's the pathetic way
Yeah.
to handle it. They've
Yeah.
told me nothing. I've
Yeah.
raised a complaint.
Yeah.
I've
Well,
given
I
all
tell
the
you what,
information.
Steve, I mean, I do lose my patience. I'm sure you do.
I do.
We just go start raising formal complaints.
I told them that in my response.
And that does.
If needs be, I will do that,
Yeah,
but that's in no one's interest.
yeah. Well, I think.
So anyway, just progress.
Yeah.
They did actually cut the areas back once.
Can I ask?
Only because they were opening their, literally, they were cutting the ribbon on it. That was the only reason they did it,
Yeah.
in my humble opinion.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can I just ask, did anyone walk down there in the very heavy, or just after the very heavy rains that we've had and see how it actually coped?
No, I was going to.
Yeah,
but I haven't.
it's actually right to the top of if you like, the gully.
What, that
So-
ditch that runs down?
Yeah, so at the bottom end, and it's slightly overflowing, it's just
Yeah,
flooding over a little bit,
yeah,
but not too much. But of course, at some point, that's all got to go down the railway line.
yeah.
And if it goes down in one great gush,
But it was under the rally.
does
Yeah.
it?
It was under the rally.
Okay. All right. If I can, so Jackie's now broken out a section on highways, and we need to add to this. And you can see, so items 19 to 24 are highways issues, and we'll just have to work on that and add to it. But broadly, so that we can move on to the meeting proper, are there any other points that anyone wants to raise on from the clerk's report?
So you're bringing up about roads and that in later on in the meeting.
There's a resolution.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, ward councillors. News from the front.
And two things to mention this month. Firstly, is the highway issues in that still on the topic. Following the temporary repair of Billington End Road, I have messaged the council to see, basically ask when the permanent repair is happening. which is a bit disappointing considering it's repeatedly been on their repairs list, but nothing's been done to date, and I have yet to receive a response from council officers, which is annoying. Other than that, on the highways front, it's just to repeat effectively what's been put on Facebook regarding the update on Station Road between the small bridge and the navigation. The road itself is a candidate for thermal patching. So it is on the list for repair for West Northlands Council. They don't know when it's going to happen yet. However, I have asked them to keep me updated. So hopefully if something does happen and Council will get back to me on that point, I will communicate with them as needed. The other thing to note is council budget related. The draft Milton Keynes City Council budget is now up for consultation, so that can be viewed online and is available for public comment at the moment. The key headline on that one is, in terms of council tax increase, the council tax is going to increase by 4.99% per that budget, and that's split into a 2% add-on for social care precept and 2.99% general. The 4.99% is the highest that they can go to without falling out of any what they have done for the past few years in Milton Keynes.
Yeah. Are there any other highlights or lowlights in the proposed budget that you think might be of interest to us as a rural parish?
I mean, to be honest, at this stage, Milton Keynes Council tend to put the least controversial stuff in the draft budget and then put it all into the final budget. So when it comes to that final budget, I might have something more to report, but at this time.
I mean, the things that we've had big issues with in the past, and where I've sort of rolled up to speak and so on, is things like the bus service.
Yeah.
When they've started a few years ago, they talked about removing the subsidy, so that we were going to, a lot of places were going to lose their buses. It happened, we're slightly different, but I think that's the main one.
Yeah.
But there's nothing like that in there that's.
I mean, the buses generally are a problem with Milton Keynes Council. There was a delegate decision a while back to try and secure some short-term bus funding, because according to AREBA, there are certain services that are under threat. I don't think any of them go past Castlethorpe at all. It's mainly like number 1, number 2, number 21. The buses that face Newport and Olney in our patch.
Yeah.
But it's just concerning in general. That's why Milton Keynes Council kind of put out a use it or lose it campaign to try and get people to go and use the buses.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're a threat being cut down at the moment, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for that. Anything else? That we... All right, thank you very much. So we'll basically, I'll give the clubhouse report, and Russell has got a version to put up on the website. Work has started inside the existing cricket pavilion. They're hoping to start groundwork next week. Actually, they've got to it's a matter of coordinating building control, and the archaeologists have got to have a watching brief because it's next to Castle Field. And that's been done. We are now employing, you may remember, we had Anthony Thompson, who's a local architect, who did some redrawing for those non-material amendments that have actually already been approved. And he's now supervising the building control requirements. You'll see that there's MKC building control fees, which are about 1,000. And there's architects' fees, which are 350, which I think is quite reasonable. Right. So you'll see when we come to the planning applications, the discharge of conditions for the backworks is not required entirely at this time, because it's really at the end they want to inspect everything, but the work has been done. It's been inspected by a batman. He's confirmed there are no bats there at the start of work, and he's installed bat boxes around the sports ground as required. The archaeology discharge of conditions, the written scheme of investigation has been approved by Nick Crank, who's the Milton Keynes chief archaeologist. But again, that won't be finally discharged until all the work's been done and a final report has been written up, which I hope will be a blank report. Certainly don't want him to find anything up there. The first Hickford's invoice in December is on the payment schedule, and you'll see that I'm recommending that we use the S106 funding to be used first to pay invoices, followed by CPC reserves, and then followed by the sports ground bond, which or investment, as that's earning better money at the moment. And then finally, we will need to get on with the loan that we need for the final 10K. We have made a grant application, thanks to Russell and Steve, for 10K to the Community Foundation, and I think we're expecting a decision in January. This is dependent on compliance with their vital signs report, so they've got various criteria they have that they call the 7 vital signs, and some of them we think we're compliant with, some of them we don't. I mean, it's so we'll have to, we have to see how we get on with them. We've got expressions of interest well advanced now for the National Lottery, and it will be very similar for BIFA, the waste recycling people. But those grant applications themselves, I think it probably won't get a decision before about next summer. So it's a while off before we'll get that. We've made a reference visit to a comparable bar in Eastern Bolton, Claydon. It's called the Mushroom Bar, and if any of you are in that area, I do recommend you call in. It's an excellent little bar, actually. And we've got a reference visit planned to another club just to see how they do things and therefore what lessons we can learn. The project board is developing a proposed service offering. Now, what we're currently thinking of is a kind of daily morning coffee and perhaps pastry or something service, with an evening and weekend bar service with bar snacks, and perhaps having external suppliers bring in food. But I don't think we would do that directly ourselves. And the kitchen fit out is being designed and costed accordingly. There will be Wi-Fi, of course, probably using mobile data initially to allow home working there. A Teams meeting has been held with Milton Keynes Council to discuss the use of this public art funding. It's a lot of money, actually. It's 38,000. And unfortunately, we can't use it for anything else. It's got to be for public art. And so, as reported last month, we've now got a community interest company, Castlethorpe Community Space, CIC, has been formed, which is analogous to the way we've got a shop association formed, between the parish council and the shop. We've now got one that will be between the parish council and the clubhouse, and it will fit out and operate the clubhouse. We've got an application for a bank account that was completed just before Christmas, and they have to make sure that we're all worthy souls. And hopefully that will be opened in January. Initial directors are Steve, Russell, and then Lawrence Chapman, Ian Horn, and Luke Jeffries, and myself. Although the building will be completed in April and will be in a basic form that can be used for cricket tees, the fit out is dependent on grants and almost certainly won't be ready for general use until the autumn. I mean, that's probably the earliest, and that's assuming we get these grants through. Furnishing the place and equipping the bar, nicely is expensive. Membership will be open to all residents, and I have heard, that people are concerned about, it's just, for the cricket teams and so on. It's absolutely not. It's for everybody in the village. And we will make arrangements so that people can take dogs at least into that part of the sports ground, not on the playing surfaces, I might say. And they probably have to be on leads, but we'll deal with that in due course. And we'll open up membership to all residents once we've got an idea of the opening date. And then members will then elect new directors to run the clubhouse as the members want. So that's the clubhouse report. Any questions? Dave?
Just two quick ones, actually. One of them is, can we get us to have a look at the lamppost? With the lamp, with the light that doesn't work?
It does work.
Oh, is it fixed?
No, it just started working again.
Oh, right, okay. That was what I wanted to look like then.
Yeah, I did ask it, and they have got a street light, you know.
Yeah,
group,
sorry. Okay.
but it was working, yeah.
Brilliant. The other thing is, as possibly part of, it might actually tie in with some of the art stuff that you're talking about. The old Castlethorpe railway side from the station,
Yeah,
it's actually up in the garage, up at the sports ground.
Correct.
yeah,
And I don't know whether that could be incorporated in the design of the
okay.
clubhouse at all.
All right, well, we may need to look at that then.
Yeah.
As I say, I'm hoping we'll get a group of, I know there are some very good artists in the village, actually.
Yeah, well, I know.
And if we can twist their arms.
Yeah,
to-
but I just thought that's been up there for quite some time now.
Yeah,
It'd be
yeah.
nice to see,
Yeah.
see it on.
I mean, I have to say, the other thing that did occur to me was whether, and I don't know, Lawrence is repairing the village sign down the bottom there, but I mean, that might be, if he needs funding, that might be something we could apply for.
Yeah.
That's something I'm going to ring up.
Why don't you make one of the walls an art installation? So that money could pay for one of the walls of the clubhouse.
Quite explicitly, you're not allowed to do it. This lady, Louise Ayles, said, she didn't talk about building walls, but she talked about decorations. She said you can't use the artwork to decorate a wall inside.
No, but it'd be an installation, so it was actually made like a collage,
Well,
but using bricks.
there is, I mean, I have to say, there is something that it's not very common in this area, but I do like pargeting. You know that, where it's where you basically imprint.
Yeah, with different coloured bricks.
Yeah,
That's what you're saying.
yeah, and you can do that.
Oh,
yeah.
like it could be a cricket scene or something.
Yeah,
But
that's
actually, and that would make up the wall, therefore that would pay for
Well,
a whole wall.
well, no, I don't think it'd be structural. I really suspect it wouldn't be structural. And by the way, you know, Hickfords are quoted, they're en route, they're going to be digging holes. We can't start changing things on them, but anyway, yeah, but there may be an opportunity to put something on.
Stained glass window.
Stained glass window, yeah. Anything else on the clubhouse? Let's move into the planning applications. 5.1 and 5.2 are the two that are ours, and I've already mentioned them. Can we pass over those?
Yeah.
Yeah. 5.3 and 5.4 are crown reductions, tree preservation orders, March House in North Street and Chestnuts in South Street.
Yes, I know you're doing.
Yeah, we're okay with those.
Okay, so they need to, so.
Yeah, so no comment on those. The fifth one is this appeal against refusal for change of use from agricultural to mixed use, but basically it's the dog walking field. So what I did do, and I'm afraid it's great pity here because I think you've probably got most to say about this of all of us.
Printed it out.
Oh, you did. So I put two documents up into your packs. One is the statement from the applicant about why it shouldn't be refused, and the other is the Milton Keynes response. And it seems to me to be mostly around access to the site and parking for vehicles and so on. Ian, have you read these, and do you want would you like to comment?
If I haven't, if Mr. and Mrs. Taylor is listening to this, I am not against it. Apart from where you attack me at in the summer, it's simple what people have bought. I said at the time what people bought up to me. They've not put a correct road entrance in. The stones have been coming out, and two people have had the windscreens done now. far as I'm concerned, so according to what the Milton Keynes thing you could printed, it needs to be a proper entrance. Same as we had to do at Terry Rhodes. You need to enter the same as the entrance up for storage. Big storage is up at Bullington Road. It's got to be done to highway. It's got to come straight out, not an angle. And it's got to be a better parking place. I haven't got a problem with it at all, as long as it's, I think that was not a proper entrance either.
Yeah.
And it says in the report, doesn't it, it's got to be restored back to Grassburg. And the other thing, as I've said to you, Bill, and mentioned it, is if you go to ours, into Albury Vale and one other places, the people have asked me and said that, see, they knew this was coming here and somebody else had applied for it, is in Aylesbury, you've got to have a portaloo there, hand washing facilities, etc. And what's happening to the poo. You have this in Northamptonshire, what you have to do with your dog doo-doos. But I mean, that's going to make a big hole, then just below that ash tree, there's going to be a big entrance there. It's got to be done correctly.
Yeah. Anyone else want to speak on that? Thank you very much, Jackie, for giving that to me.
Yeah, I just thought that it was a very pedantic interpretation of the planning rules by the council.
Yes. I mean, I have to say,
if the planning department and the person running the dog walk got together and thrashed it out and resubmitted an application, I'm sure that they could have done something about it.
Yeah.
Rather than having to go to an inspector's appeal.
Yeah, I think I'm rather inclined to agree. I mean, firstly, I do think that saying that it's not a sustainable form of transport to get there, implying that people take their dogs on a bicycle or on a bus.
Yes.
I mean,
the only thing you had in the report about the number of motorists, it said 1 or 2.
Yeah.
I went past there the other day with 2 people in the motor, and there was 4 motors parked in there.
yeah. So
And it's dangerous coming out.
I mean, I think Russell is also right, and in fairness, the applicant, the Taylors have said that you know, they felt that the objections of the council could have been dealt with through planning conditions, rather than having to go through this whole judicial appeal. But are we okay to just leave Milton Keynes Council get on with this?
Let them get on with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Right. Does anyone want to raise anything on the items report back on previous applications and sections? We'll just take this as a block.
6.3, you're over the page, 6.3. Cosgrove.
That's been refused.
No. The other day, 4 lorries come this way. I went down John Olney. 4 of them. It was a nightmare getting through the village for a lot of people. When I was sat at the end of Bullet End Road, I was laughing. There was about 32 cars.
Yeah. Just as an aside, a resident in Foxcovert Lane contacted me to say that those mobile homes had gone down the lane and ridden up on the verge and done a lot of verge damage.
They got stuck.
Yeah.
2 of them got stuck on that bridge, and I did actually, because I was walking past there, and there were 2 mobile homes going over the bridge. And I said to them, I said, did you realise this is a 5-ton limit? Look at the signs. And they were like, and they had to go back in the end because they were too wide.
Yeah. Do take photographs when you do, on your phone. Anyway, I did write. I have got a contact at Milton Keynes Council who helped sort out this verge damage in the past, and I did write to her, and she did immediately take some action and fired it off to get Cosgrove Park to repair it. I need to walk down there and have a look and see whether they did or not.
Bit of a mess.
Yeah, I mean, at one point we did ask for each
To be
managed
Yeah.
specifically by a
Yeah,
person.
yeah. I did point this out to her as well. Yeah, in the note I just sent.
But also, sorry.
So, I did ask somebody who works on Network Rail to raise it internally. And he said that there's nowhere that Network Rail can go or will go with it.
No,
He said it's too difficult, and he said that the farmer has got permission or is entitled to actually bring his heavy vehicles over the bridge. And he said they've argued that if push comes to shove, they'll just decouple the trailer and get it pulled across by an agricultural vehicle and recoupled on the other side.
That's what they did.
And so with that in mind, Network Road can't do anything about it.
Yeah, all right.
It has had, I think, detrimental effect, these things going across, because on the road, which I can't remember the name of it a second, going up to it, people parking all over the pavement. And it's
Box cover, yeah.
box cover, there's always cars now parked all over the pavements.
Yeah.
And I think that's because they're aware that they're bringing these vehicles through.
Yeah.
And it's quite hard to get parked on pavement in quite a few cases there, and I think it must be a lot worse with people with buggies and
Yeah.
wheelchairs.
There's one
Okay.
other day
Look.
that's completely.
Yeah,
Look,
just the park.
yeah, can I suggest, I mean,
Anyway,
we're on planning
Okay.
applications,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Any comments on this section? No, right, let's move on then. 7.1 is to have this, consider these quotes in part 2, so to agree to a part 2 meeting. I'll propose it, need a second of Darren. All in favour, yeah, it's unanimous. Right, to consider forming an advisory group to discuss the public art options, which I've already effectively said. There's a document that I put in your packs. And basically I'm saying that we use Facebook and the notice board or website to ask anyone with artistic abilities to, if they'd be prepared to join a public art advisory group. And then they can discuss and this comes out of the meeting that Jackie and I had with Louise Izod. The meeting would then discuss the parameters for the public art, which might include a sculpture at the clubhouse, or it could include, as you say, something attached to the wall or whatever. Well, it could be that. And it also would need to agree on a theme for it. This is what Louise said. This could be heritage, because obviously it's next to the clubhouse, is next to the castle, Castlethorpe, culture, environment, or pretty much anything else. And then the parish council would then go out to tender for pieces of work to the value of the S106 money. And I think we'd ask the public art advisory group to make a recommendation, because, as I said, we're probably a bunch of Philistines. I excluded K. Excluded K. Obviously, anyone who was bidding for the artwork couldn't sit on the pack. So basically, if we agree, then we'll go ahead and start getting that sorted out. We have to make an application for the funding. There's one that's coming up almost imminently, which is too early, but the next is in late February. So it would be nice to be able to make a formal application for the S106 funding late February. It's not the end of the world if we don't make it, because I'm sure the artwork will follow on the construction of both buildings. Any comments?
I'm a bit confused. Is this artwork somehow connected to the clubhouse? Because I thought it was an entirely separate fund.
It is. What it is that when Carrington Grove was built, there was S106 money identified for a series of areas, one of which was sports amenities, which is what the clubhouse is going for. The other was village amenities, which is being used for the village shop. But there's loads of other pots. There's a pot for the surgery up at Hanslow. There's a pot for the first school. There's a pot for the fire service. There's a pot for the police. There's a pot for litter bins. And there's a pot, which is a mandatory pot for public art. And the restriction is that it's got to be within walking distance of the development. That's what they say.
So the art itself doesn't need to be linked to the clubhouse. It could be something about, so that's the point I was just understanding.
And it's one bit will be down there, yeah. So it might be, but it's got to be in a, public is important, so it's got to be in a public place. It can't be like the Morris Cup in Russell's front. And so anyway, is everyone okay with going ahead that way? Yeah, okay. Unanimous, yeah. I think that's all. Fine. To agree to renew the lease between the parish council and the sports association. This was agreed in an informal meeting, but I did want Ian to have an opportunity in case he had anything to say on it before we sort of do it.
No, as long as it's similar basis and they apply to it or the similar basis, not a problem.
No problem. It's just for 1 year because
Yeah.
we think it might be different once the clubhouse and
Well, it will be different.
It will be different.
Can't be different.
Yeah. So, okay, I'll propose it on there and, Steve's proposing.
I'll propose it.
Yeah, no problem.
Right, 7.4 is just to refresh the authorisation levels on the clubhouse. We've had a few expenditures like the building regs and something else we had to sign up as well, wasn't there, Jackie? I think it's only about 1,000 or so far. Mandatory expenditures. We agreed last time we would give Darren, Steve and me authority to spend up to 5k on additional works. We spent about 1k on that. If we can just refresh that now, so we still got 5k to spend.
And actually, can I just raise the point that that does depend on the three of us being here at any one time. So should it be conditional on availability? I'm thinking for a reason. I mean, if one of the three of us isn't around,
Well,
to authorize it.
2 of the 3 of us, yeah?
Yeah, I think 2 of the 3 of us.
2 of the 3 of us, and then authorise Jackie to proceed, yeah?
Yeah.
Right. Right, 7.5 is to request highways to create a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit from Glenmore Farm to the existing 30-mile-an-hour limit. Tried this once before, and they said, no, you can't do it, and in any case, it doesn't have any effect. And then they put one in Hounslow. So you know, incidentally, someone's knocked over your farm animals sign.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's your hedge man.
Might be.
Yeah,
So it's in the bush.
yeah, you might stick it back
Well,
in. But anyway, so,
It's easier to extend the 30 miles.
well, you're not meant to have 30-mile-an-hour zone unless you've got buildings on both sides of the road. 40-mile-an-hour, you can do it with buildings on one. These used to be the rules when, you know, sadly, I used to go through the highways, bridges manual or whatever. And Glenmore Farm, of course, is on that road. So that would, I think, qualify for a 40-mile.
We originally asked that white things gateway to come in on my opposite side, far up, Hanslow Road and stuff, and they wouldn't let us do it.
Anyway, are we all okay that we make a request?
But the other request is
Okay. Right, 7 points, sorry.
while you're on Woodland Road, Darren and I, very, very upset at the moment. And I've asked for it before, if we don't write Hanslow and Havisham, we write ourselves 2 Milton Keynes. Do they get 106 money out of the government or not? Because we had that money before, we ought to be asking for it again. I mean, 2 months ago, Smith's lorries were going up and down the road. There was 5 of them. 50 lorries a day going up and down, filled coaches, and now we've got more and more traffic just lately as well, at the speed.
Yeah, we ought to stick to the agenda, Ian.
Yeah,
You can bring it up at the end if you want, but I mean, we have discussed it before. Let's move on to 7.6. Authorising the clerk to move 30k from the reserves and 50k sports bond. I think Jackie just wanted this just to reassure that she could go on with the formal proceedings, you know, to make sure we can pay Hickfords. And you just felt you wanted the resolution just to reassure you on that. So I'll propose that. You'll second it, yeah, and we're all in favour. Good. Right. 7.7. 4 road conditions in Castlethorpe, including road pass and navigation in. And I would actually just like to take the opportunity to really thank Chris for getting that moved forward. And what a contrast, the response from West North to their members compared to Milton Keynes Council.
It doesn't mean they're going to do anything.
They still do it.
Well, we'll
That's
see.
nice.
Yeah, I mean, you're quite right, but Chris threw in the chord, we'll monitor
Absolutely,
it
yeah.
and see, yeah.
It's nice to have response.
How nice to have a response.
It'd be nice to see something done.
West Northants might be quicker, but Milton Keynes does better pothole repairs.
Right. Yeah, I think it has got good.
Bullington End.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Russell, this was your resolution, I think.
It was, speaking on behalf of Alvin, it's basically not a road apart from probably, some of the little side roads that, doesn't have potholes in.
Yeah.
And they're getting worse, and they're getting bigger as well. Even the raised, hump in the centre of the village now has got potholes in it.
That's it?
Yeah, big long one.
What, the new one?
The one they've just put in.
Yeah, they didn't do a great job.
No, not the, no, I mean, the centre of the village.
Oh, right.
It's the so-called table, yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, where do you start?
where do you start? I mean,
We know.
we can only ask, I think we're gonna just put this up on the list, make sure it's all formally reported. And then we're going to ask ward councillors just to keep chasing and chasing.
It's something to do it with,
No.
with Milton Keynes Council Commission.
No, oh,
It's a shame,
don't get me going on that. I mean, I asked Graham Cox if we could do minor works at the side of Olney, blew a valve. I mean, such an unhelpful man. I mean, truly. And by the way, road repairs are very expensive as well.
Okay.
You know, particularly if you do them
they're
properly.
ridiculously expensive, aren't they?
Yeah.
To the point where Milton Keynes Council absolutely ripped off
Yeah.
by the contractors.
Oh, yeah.
Completely ripped off.
Yeah.
Mind you, they'll have contracts that you can drive the
Yeah.
articulates.
It's the core problem across the country.
It'll be the extras. They
Yeah.
just do what they want.
Would it be worth on all the main streets, and any of the side streets, if there are potholes in them, if somebody who lives in that street would go up and down and mark on a map where every pothole is?
Not allowed to mark them.
No, on a map.
On the map.
On the map, including-
That's what you do when you report it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
good.
It's absolutely what you do.
So that'd be fine.
Yeah, look, I think what we can really do is a central list that we can tick through. One of the problems that I have with the Milton Keynes full reporting system, and I report a lot of stuff. I mean, everything from litter bins to street light bulbs out to potholes to road signs. I mean, but I can never tell what I've reported because you look through the list and it just gives you a reference number. And you have to do about 3 or 4 clicks before you can get down to see what it is.
And then arbitrarily close it.
And then they arbitrarily close it.
They don't tell you.
So I think, as we said at the beginning, say repeating ourselves, we're trying to have a consolidated list. But please, residents, if you see a pothole or any fault, please report it. Because as Kay said earlier, the more people that report this stuff, the more likely that we are to get something done, which isn't necessarily a huge multiplier, a very small likelihood, but
There's a lot of people who moan about it,
yeah,
but don't actually report it, and they're not going to get anything done at all if you don't report it. I mean, that one at Bullington End, every time somebody, because I put it up there about there's another burst tyre, can you report it? And I had a good response to that. There was various people who did
Well, we
report it.
had, I think there's 10 men up there now.
Yeah,
And
10
there's three people, 2 pulled in by my yard gate, and after they could change the wheel. And a chap came, I think, poor wife had gone through with a mini and bent the wheel. And he said, can I leave in your farm gateway? I said, no, you can drop it along the top of the bungalow. So you drop part in front of the bungalow and come back next day and change the wheel. I said, well, you must, with all your expenditures, put it into the account.
A car tyre is, obviously a real inconvenience and it's expense, but a motorcyclist goes to that in himself.
I absolutely agree. I mean, we're all, putting on an open door here. we're all agreed. And I would also, because this has been so well reported, I would encourage residents to make a claim for first time
Yes.
and for damaged wheels
Well,
against Milton Keynes Council, and that may raise the profile a bit. It's, you know, it seems to be the only way you can force them to do it. Anyway, we'll
Subject to
right. We also ought to have put the resurfacing of the area outside the school on the list. I did raise that. A while ago, and they said they would do it when they had teams in the village. So they came in to do the pavement. So I said, "Can you do it now?" And they said, "No, it's not on the list."
No, they don't do it.
I mean, they just every excuse really, but that's in very poor condition. So we need to add that.
And outside the shop as well, outside the chestnuts, that is absolutely dreadful. That is a huge hole and
Yeah.
it's just getting
Well, we've
worse.
got- yeah.
It's crumbling.
And the other
the
thing is,
there.
with all this traffic and lorries coming out the end of Bullington End Road and turning, coming this
Yeah.
way, all that road's stuffing up now and be within another 3 or 4 months, there'll be nothing there.
Yeah.
Where's that Bullington Road?
If you come out of Bullington End Road, turn along North Street.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Well, it's not bad yet. If
It's
Ian
bad.
is saying that those very heavy lorries are going to cause damage there.
well, it's cool.
All right.
Can I just say one more thing? That the one on Wellington End, they've done a temporary repair on it, but they sent me an email, a response email saying that it was sorted.
Yeah, Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. And
Get a written.
I meant to write to Rachel about that today, but other things overtook it. Else things in that program. Right. Let's move on then. Carrington Arms.
The Carrington Arms, yes, the crack is getting bigger, it's just falling down.
Yeah.
John Keane and Paul Inkin had a long
That's the news.
series of emails to and from the Conservation Department to the council, and they said that they are monitoring the situation, but they don't seem to be monitoring it very well. So I would like to report this again to the Conservation Officer at the council.
Well, it's more than 3 meetings, isn't it, since the last email?
Excuse me, the last time they had a couple of hours ago, they told me got through the window, etc. But they want to go and see the cellar. The cellar's all plastic apparently.
That's
Yeah.
Okay.
That's well, I think the point really is, I mean, it's just looking back. It's actually 5 years, I think, since the Keens raised this, so it's well due for further activity. So I think what we're asking, the proposal is that we ask Jackie to write from the parish council now.
Yeah.
I know we were aware of what the Keens were doing because John was obviously a parish councillor at the time. I think we ought to do it formally from the parish council to conservation to I think Simon Pert, he's the head officer. I'm not even sure if Christopher Hooper's still there or not. But,
Who's the guy that the conservation area guy who helped or didn't help but refused the permission at the back of the?
that's Martin Ellison, I think his
Would
name.
he not be somebody who might?
Yeah, he's good, but Simon Pert is the boss. And they,
It's phone two listed, isn't it?
I
yeah.
just maybe CC him in because
Sorry,
he
yeah.
seems to be on the ball.
Yeah, so I'll just suspend the meeting and let Peter speak because I know
Yeah,
he's been very
Thank you.
involved.
I have, you may think that I've done absolutely nothing, but I have spent some time looking at the character and what the opportunities are. The fundamental problem is, as far as Milton Keynes go, is the underlying legislation. And the underlying legislation, where if they go down the route of trying to force the owner to put it right, if the owner doesn't put it right, then Milton Keynes are effectively the only option that they have to escalate further
Exactly, cool.
is a compulsory purchase. And the last thing that Milton Keynes want to do is end up compulsorily purchasing, frankly, any listed building at risk, whether it's going.
Hi, Peter, because I mean, I've
No,
heard this case of a pub that was knocked down and the local planning authority forced them to rebuild.
You can force them to rebuild it, but if the owner literally does nothing, The owner here is effectively a man of straw. It's a limited company. You know, if that limited company just files for insolvency or whatever, then the only thing that Milton Keynes can do is compulsory purchase the asset. So,
Simply owed down to the ground. Yes.
so yeah, we could took the other down to the ground. So I can understand where the reluctance from Milton Keynes to get involved in the situation comes from. In reality, I have been doing still a bit of work on this. The reality is that in order to start to get anything done, there needs to be some sort of resolution and solution as to what the art of the possible might be in terms of the use of the building.
Well,
Because without putting the building into some form of use, whether that's partly residential, partly bed and breakfast, some kind of cafe, pub, you know, sort of, there's quite a lot of space there, you know, sort of, I don't know, art centre, you know, call it what you, and there have been, you know, up and down the country, there's been some very good examples of things where they do well there.
I think the problem is the amount of money that will have to be put in.
No, but there was pretty big grants made.
But Peter, I mean, from point of view of what we're just deciding as a parish council is what we should do. And the proposal is that we should write to Simon Heard, say that we believe that the building is continuing to deteriorate quite seriously.
I think it could be dangerous to the public.
Yeah, you know,
Absolutely.
and that's okay. Okay, well, let's resume. So are we all agree with that as a way?
I would like a quick response, though.
Yeah, well. Sorry.
Milton Keynes Council and quick go in the same sentence.
Come on, okay.
No, I was agreeing with you.
Okay, right, okay.
Agreed.
When we do this, we also give them the history of the correspondence with John Keynes as well.
Yeah, say we're aware of that history. If you've got that, I'll give it to you.
You could ask John,
Oh, you put it.
because I don't think he minds.
It's Paris
Sorry?
Council.
No,
Paris Council.
when,
I mean, for his, to give, we've got it.
no, that's what's on your file. What happened was, when I saw Russell put this on the agenda, I wrote to John and Pauline and said, can I have the history of your transactions? And they sent that through and I put it, I sent it to Russell and Russell put it onto your packs.
Okay.
Right, let's move on then.
Yeah.
So we're now into the payment schedule. So if we can just very quickly look at that, it's not a long one this month. So it's just Jackie, village hall cleaning. There's a further money that's come from Milton Keynes Council, is there? Thank you, Peter, your contribution. So this is money that's come from Milton Keynes Council and just needs to be passed on to the church. Remember, we couldn't use the winter plan funding ourselves, so that we suggested it went to the church. We said what happens in Hanslope and Havisham. And then the first invoice from Hickford's. And then routine.
Did you pay the Broderick last time?
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah.
It's only got to bring $1.5 million.
So any questions on any of this? We're also talking about moving £20,000 across to the treasurer's account. This is really to anticipate the VAT that we're going to pay on. I think the next Hickford's bill is going to be a big one because I've heard 4 working months on it. So just to make sure we've got enough cash in our account to pay the VAT element of it beforehand, because the money that we get from the S106 is exclusive of that. So we have to temporarily fund the VAT part and then claim it back. Okay, we need I'm happy to propose, but I need a second. Yeah, Russell is seconding, all in favour. Yeah, thank you. Let's sign this. Right. Now we come on to the budget for next year. And you've got this in your packs. Now, Steve, Russell and I hope you don't mind, but we had, and with Jackie, had a kind of informal working session just to go through it all. We went through it line by line. The decision on the budget, of course, has to be made by full council. It can't be delegated. So that was just really to sort of try and make sure that the budget was as clean as it could be. And we think it is. If I give you the top line on this, and then we can go open it up and we can go through it pretty much line by line. The way it is at the moment, it looks as if we've got receipts of 49,777, which is as Excel always does, a remarkably precise number. And income of, expenditure of just less than that, as 48,600. Now, this does include a provision of £4,000 a year for repayments of the PWLB loan that we have previously authorised. Okay, so you can see that. If you're not sure where it is that you're looking, it's a big sum. Yeah, it's on line 18 of your spreadsheet, or row 18. Row 18. Have you got that in row 18? Well, you can see it. It says PWLB repayments, which I think is right. It was certainly what I pulled up at the time. I pulled that. Funnily enough, interest rates have gone down slightly since now, aren't they? But we'll see how that goes. Now, I have to say, I think this budget is extremely tight. It does make quite a lot of assumptions about things like the village hall income, for example, but
insurance.
Well, insurance, I think, is fairly certain, funnily enough. Because that's a multi-year agreement that Steve negotiated. But some of the others, mower repairs, they are just fingers in the air estimates as to what we think. So the other thing is that I did query with, I've forgotten her name now, the head of finance or deputy head of finance, the tax base that we've been given, because it only went up by 6 houses or 6 bandy equivalents. I think you must give you a cuddle there, Dave. But basically, our tax base only went up by 6 bandy equivalents for the 30 houses that were built in Carrington Grove, which seemed to me to be on the low side. When I wrote to the lady, whose name I could probably look up, she said that because I'd raised a query last year, she had specifically asked her staff to check Castlethorpe, but she was going to ask them to do it again. Anna Rawton, but I asked her just before Christmas, because that's when I saw it, and I haven't actually had a response now. So I do need to check that the tax base is correct. It could go up. I don't suppose it could go up by much. I suspect it won't go up at all. I think, and with regret, I think we do actually need to have a fairly substantial percentage increase in precept this year. I think we probably do need to have about, well, I would say, the thick end of 4,000 a year, because we normally would have a surplus on our operating expense of about used to be between 5,000 and 10,000. I don't think we could reasonably ask residents to fund that. So I am going to suggest that it goes up by 10%. Before everyone, sucks their breath too much, let's just see that in proportion. It's an extra 3,600 amongst the 470 houses in the village. I think it works out about 88p a month or something. It's not a huge amount of money, but it is large in percentage terms. But if you want to have a clubhouse, I think, and we're going to do part of the funding that way, I think we're going to have to bite the bullet. And I just hope we don't have to come back again next year and say, well, we haven't been successful on grants, what do we want to do? But there we go. Okay.
I have had people say to me that they're not happy about paying more for the clubhouse when it's something they didn't want. I'm just bringing it up, not me. I'm just saying that I have. I've had people say that they don't see why they should pay more, because.
It's not a matter of paying more for the clubhouse, it's a matter of covering ourselves. We really need to do it.
That's right.
I'm just telling you.
Do next year.
Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just literally telling you what has been said to me.
Yeah.
That's the nature of the issue.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't
Everything it says is not used by everybody.
Yeah, and it was voted for. There was a majority, and I think more people voted for. Obviously, more people voted for than against it.
Well, I'm just calling it up. I mean, actually, you must have been talking to one of 56 people because 337 voted in favour and 56
I'm
voted against.
literally just bringing it up because I
that's
didn't
fair enough.
expect to bring it up.
But
Okay, so I think brought it up.
Yeah, I mean, I do. Yeah, I do have a personal thing about what I call the tyranny of the majority. Where the majority just sort of pile on and force the minority to do things. But I do think here it is an overwhelming majority in favour of it. And I think it's just a matter of keeping our finances right. And our precept is still by no means out of line with.
How much a year is it extra?
It would be 3,600.
Yeah, between how many people?
88.
Yeah, that means nothing over a year. How much is that? Because that's how you pay your tax, isn't it?
Okay, let me. So what it is,
Trying to put it into
I'll do this. I'll do this right. So it's 365 divided by 473. So it's that's good.
I'm doing it wrong.
I'm doing it wrong.
Put a zero on.
Wrong.
Yes, it's not. It's £7.71 a year for a band D house.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're in a band A, it'll be less.
More,
If you're in a band F or whatever it goes up to, it's
just that so people can see how much it would make over a year. And to me, £7, that's not a lot. Is I could spend it on a bar of chocolate, but lost. But yes, so to me, that doesn't seem a lot.
Yeah.
But I think some people think it's a principle of the thing. But I want to bring it into.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody said to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it is true about an awful lot of these things. I mean, we spend quite a lot of money on the sports ground, we spend quite a lot of money on the village hall, it's. Anyway.
I'm just looking at the line 33,
Line 33.
which is maintenance of the sports grounds and grandstand maintenance.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so £1,000. I thought it was more than that. It must be more than that.
What's that?
Sorry, £1,000 budgeted for the cutting the sports ground and maintaining low-level hedgerows. £1,000, you're never going to do it for that.
That's a lot less than it was last year.
Yeah,
3,000.
and I thought I was happy. We were happy with that when we went away from our session. But that can't be right.
No, it can't be.
Well,
Something
there's-
moved for something else.
Yeah, there was
I'm
some movement
I'm
around.
looking elsewhere.
Discussion about.
We did, but I wouldn't have been happy with
No.
£1,000 as
Is it
an
round
outcome.
half?
Excuse me, I don't think I'm talking more.
And there's no
That's a relief.
gentleman.
Let me just
Yeah.
make this a bit.
That'd be good, you pick one.
I'm fine.
Do you want to go?
The other way.
Yeah.
Well, what do you, I mean, if you put that up by, I mean, I thought when we went through this, we did find some things have been put under the, you know,
Yeah.
an odd item, and we actually sorted it all out. But I mean, even if that were to go up by another 1,000, because this year it was projected, it's 2,500 projected this year.
Yeah.
What's the difference in utilities as well? 9,700 last year, 5,750 this year.
Well,
Gas has gone down by £4,500.
yeah, we caught gas right at the very top of its cost
Okay.
last year, and we elected to just take a year contract since when the price of gas has gone down
Electricity's gone up.
significantly. And yeah, electricity that we're at the end of.
That was because it was a lot of it was in the contract. This was just the £15.
Sorry
an
about
hour.
this, but I mean, it just seems.
So, sport grounds coming in 2 places or 3 places.
Sure, Judith, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah. You've got the sport ground coming on 3 or 4 things, haven't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just trying to find somewhere else where we might have, because like you say, we've been through this.
I think that was just
Well, a
the
landscaping
grass
grant's
cutting.
gone up by £1,000.
Well, look, what do we want to do on that?
Oh, hold on, what, yes, oh, no. Yeah,
Was £1,000 not just the grass cutting, Steve, that we said would be £15 an hour for 3 hours, which was 45 times 12 times.
yeah.
Wasn't 3,700 last time because of the.
Because we had to pay.
Because we had to pay the premium last spring, yeah.
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 1,000 is just for the grass cutting and the hedges.
I think that's what it is.
So
Okay,
you think this is right?
Well, I think the difference is because of the extra, money that's paid.
Yeah.
Per hour.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean, maybe that's okay.
I mean, I can only say that you know this as well as I do, that we went through it.
Yeah, I know,
We came to a conclusion. Jackie wrote it up, sent it
Yeah.
to us, and we all said, yes, that accurately reflects what we agreed. And we then got stuck into mince pies and
There you go.
enjoyed the meeting.
Yeah,
And I have to say, I can't now recall the discussion that we had before Christmas.
I'm saying, okay, well, 450, yeah. That's
That
fine.
was providing we can get a
Yeah.
ground.
Okay, well, let's just be aware of things.
Yeah, I mean, all I can say is that this is precisely why I think we need a bit more precept in order,
Yeah.
if there's something in here that's not right,
Yeah,
that we can forward it.
yeah. Oh, I'm all for
Yeah.
I'll make a suggestion, next time you do it, you put comments on to say why it's.
Well, there are copies.
No, but
Can't remember
little, to say why.
I-
Obviously, there aren't enough.
I do
copies.
apologise, having been part of the discussion that actually produced this.
Yeah.
I'm
This
sure it's
draft.
right.
I mean, I was all right with it at the time, so.
Yeah. Well, look, the most important thing is the precept section,
Yeah, sure.
which we have to do because we have to get this into Milton Keynes by the end of the month.
Yeah,
So we have to make that decision tonight. So I think what we want, you know, in the Milton Keynes honoured fashion is, you know, 9.99%. Make sure, please, when you do the calculation, because we have to make a demand for an absolute sum. We have in the past got caught out when we didn't take account of changes in tax base and suddenly we found the precept had gone up by more than we were expecting in percentage terms. So if we stick to 9.99, it should then generate this correct.
The form
The
allows
form,
us to do that.
Yeah. So I am going to propose 49.99. Do I need a seconder for this is financial? I need a seconder for it. We'll see the second. Can we all vote as to whether we're going to do it?
And we're playing you.
Was your hand up there? Was your hand up?
Yeah,
Oh, and you. Right, okay. So we have made the decision, that's the precept. We can look at the budget again if there are specific queries, just to nail it down, but broadly, this looks about right, and the budget is a working document anyway.
Yeah, sure.
And there'll be some ups and there'll be some downs. Normally, we come in under budget, if you see what I mean, in the year. In other words, with a bit more surplus than we expect, but that may not be the case this year because it is quite good. All right, thank you. Let's move on to section 9. I think we've dealt with both of these.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
And then people have gone.
Any other business?
Yeah. Just an update, as I said before, with Bobby's Field, so I feel that, we need to push this a little bit more with residents. If you know anybody who has, and I'm asking residents and people here, if you know anybody who has lived in the village for 20 years plus, please can you give them a form, help them to fill it in, anything, because.
These are the forms, yeah?
Yes, those are the forms. If you'd like to model them for me, my beautiful assistant, no. So it's not a hard form to fill in. I'm quite happy to come round and help people to do it, but please fill them in. And there's 2 people in the household that have actually lived in the village for 20 years plus. 2 forms, please, not 1 form. And I'm sure you've all had birthday parties and played rounders and picked loads of fruit off the trees and flown your kites, as well as walked down the footpath. But I'm sure that you will use.
Residents get the form easily.
I have said that I would quite happy to give them. Dave's got some. Peter Clark has got some.
They're on the website, I think, as well, aren't they?
But people might not be able to print them.
No. I think it's actually probably better if they actually get a printed copy and then just pop it back in my door, just post it through my letterbox, and I'm more than happy to collate them.
It was like a big while
So
ago.
can I put your addresses down?
Yeah.
For a minute, just so they know.
Yes, that's fine. But I was quite shocked about how little response I had from the newsletter. I realise that not everybody goes onto Facebook, get that, but that 1 person responded just telling me how they could be improved. Thank you very much, that's lovely. But what I do need is people who have lived in the village for longer than 20 years. And I even came into the Christmas party and
you did.
literally and asked people there. But I've had no response. And unless people want loads of houses adding to the village, they need to act. They need to support this, please. I'm pleading with you.
Well, I haven't gone round the checkers yet, and I will need more forms than that, so.
So Peter's actually got printing facilities, so just ask him
Well,
for
you just
more.
give me those.
Yeah, so, but if you
I'll
ask him, ask him for
But
more.
I haven't gone round the checkers yet. And when
I
I do,
don't-
I'll get loads of,
Officially have
well,
printing,
people have been coming up to me, asking me what's happening.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I get asked, but nobody has responded to that plea on, and I couldn't have made it any clearer.
No, you did.
I think that's a sign of advertisement for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do believe that people do care, they just think, oh, well,
I think that's.
Yeah, it's apathy.
yeah.
All right, okay. Thank you, Kay. Yeah, thank you for leading on this.
Yeah, very much.
Right. Next, any other business?
Right into Hanslope Park, Castlethorpe Parish, Hanslope, if not ourselves, right to Milton Keynes. We've got to try and do something about
Yeah,
this.
I don't think Hanslope Park pay S106. That last bit of money that they gave out was an ex gratia payment. They're a Crown estate, and
I've reached out to somebody at work about the traffic, and they said they passed on my mail to the contractors, so I need to chase that. They've had before Christmas because I asked them to come and speak like either tonight and to try and work out how we could make it at least better for coming through the village, because it is pretty
Yes.
but I'll chase it again.
Yeah,
But the money thing, as you say, is I've hit a bit of dead end on that one.
If you don't try, you don't know.
yeah, but you've got to know who to write to.
Yeah, well, I've written to estates, I've got a contact in the States, but
Yeah.
So let's write a letter, please.
Yeah. I don't, unfortunately, this was 2007 or something. And I'm not even sure I was on the council when that money was made available.
Right.
So I don't think I've got records of where the money came.
When Karen Hill was the clerk.
No, Martin Goff.
It was
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Because that's when well, Karen Hill, Floyd, when all this was going
Well,
on.
if it was Karen Hill, I probably would have some records. I will have a look and see.
Which
I'm not sure
by
by-
an road trade service.
Yeah, I'm not, yeah. If I've got it, I'll find out which bit of Hanslow Park gave it, but honestly, I don't know. All right, well, we,
Should be in there,
yeah.
that paperwork, shouldn't it?
See, come on, look, I think we probably, yeah. Shall we call this, finish on any other business? We're getting on now, it's 20 past. Right, next parish council meeting, the 5th, and please don't forget the new city presentation on the 7th. That is quite important if you're interested to see what's happening around here. I think hopefully Steve, Russell and I will be able to get there and we'll report back with, I'm sorry you can't do it, but I know you've got duties and so on, yeah. All right.
Is that 7th of Feb? or
7th of Feb, yeah.
Don't forget the forms for God's sake. If you've got an elderly neighbour, take them a form.
And where is it in here?
Right, I'm now going to close the live stream, so thank you everyone if you've made it through till now.
Let's get on.